Welcome back to the Crypto Channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now, Bitcoin is continuing to dump on the larger time frames and is still dumping in the immediate short term, breaking further towards the next technical price target to the downside, which I'll talk about in just a moment. But this is happening while the US stock market is also pulling back after we supposedly got what was meant to be some good news, which I'll talk about in just a moment. But this is proving that there's a lot of weakness in the market right now, especially in the case of XRP starting to possibly break below a very important level on the price chart, which is one of the reasons as to why I've just now opened a short position on XRP right now at the current prices as of recording this video. So I'll be talking about all of that and so much more later in the video, so definitely watch to the end. First of all, just before taking a look at the Bitcoin and crypto charts today, we need to talk about what's happened today in traditional markets. First of all, a matter of hours ago, we did indeed see new CPI inflation numbers get released, which did cause a bit of volatility in the shorter term over the last half a day, over the last few hours once again. And we can see here that the expected number for today's CPI inflation rate was 3.1% year-over-year inflation, with the trading economics forecast expecting 3.0%. But the actual number came in at 2.7% year-over-year inflation, which is actually a decent bit below expectations. And typically, if the market is somewhat neutral to bullish, this is actually quite a bullish outcome because we're actually well below expectations, which basically all you need to know when it comes to inflation is if we're below expectations, typically that is a bullish outcome. And at least initially for the following minutes, maybe the next 1 to 2 hours following this release right here, we did see a bit of a short-term pump in markets here in the stock market. We did see a bit of a rebound, as we could see, and in the immediate short term for Bitcoin, we did see a small little rebound, which we could see right here in the short term, which I'll talk about in just a moment. But ultimately, that rebound so far has failed to continue with bullish momentum. And so once again, we did have a bullish catalyst today, lower than expected CPI inflation numbers, typically meant to be bullish for markets, and initially was bullish, but due to the fact that we did not see a lot of follow through, this is just further proof that at least for now, we're lacking bullish momentum and we're simply quite weak when it comes to the market. We're showing off a lot of weakness, obviously lacking bullish momentum. So at least for now, that is still the situation here in the US stock market. And that's also obviously flowing over to the crypto market, showing a lot of weakness in the short term. And so if we're taking a look at the Bitcoin charts today here on the weekly time frame, the super trend indicator is still sitting in the red, indicating a larger correction or a larger bearish market. And if we're taking a look at this weekly Bitcoin price chart, obviously right now we still have that massive bearish divergence playing out, as I warned about months ago, all the way back up here, warning about this massive pullback coming next. And I'm still warning about this moving forward. This is still active, still playing out on the larger time frames. So remember, on smaller time frames here and there, we can see little bounces, short-term bullish release from time to time, but overall, bigger picture, still not looking too good. And if we're taking a look at the daily Bitcoin price chart, of course, over the last few weeks, for almost a month, the price has been holding above this area of support in between around 85 to 86,000 approximately. But as of recording this video, we're potentially starting to break below that support. But at least right now, we've not yet actually confirmed a break below that support. Ideally, we need to see a daily candle close confirmed below 85,000 in order to actually confirm the break below that level. And then, of course, if we fail to get back above that level, then that would be some extra confirmation pointing towards a drop towards the next support. And so for the Bitcoin bulls out there, ideally we need a hold above around 85 to 86,000, or let's just say if we do confirm, say, one daily candle close slightly below that level, then it would need to quickly reclaim that level in order to avoid another further drop, obviously. So right now, this is a crucial time, at least when we're talking about the short term for the price of Bitcoin, as we are running into potentially breaking this support. And if we actually confirm the breakdown here, as I just said, with candle closes below that level and failing to get back above that level, in that situation, the next target would be at around 80,000 to 81,000. And below that, if that fails to hold as support, in that situation, I'd expect to move down towards roughly 76,000, give or take, as potentially a major point of support. But once again, at least for now, we've not yet fully confirmed the break below the support, which means there's still some hope in the short term that we hold this as support, so keep that in mind. And as for resistance, obviously continue to expect a lot of resistance in this area, as I've warned about for weeks, in between 92,000 to 94,000 if the price were to actually get back up there. And zooming further into the short term, taking a look at the 6-hour Bitcoin price chart, once again we could see over the last few hours, over the last half a day or so, right as those CPI inflation numbers were getting released, we did see a short-term little move up, a little pump from roughly around 86, 87k up towards around 89k, just above 89k. But obviously, just like the US stock market, failing to continue that bullish move with further momentum. Obviously, right now we have a lot of weakness in the market for the US stock market and also for the crypto market. So obviously that short-term bounce was very short-lived. It did not last very long, and ultimately it was another retest, another test of this line right here, previous support, now acting as resistance, once again at approximately 89,000. And so for the Bitcoin traders out there, not financial advice, but that was potentially another opportunity to open a short position. Once again, not financial advice, but this is what I've already been talking about over the last few days, since before these two retests right here, since basically the moment we confirmed the break below around 88,500 a few days ago back here. Ever since then, I have been saying I'll be looking for short positions, considering right now the market is looking more bearish than it is bullish, at least in the somewhat shorter term here. And so, like I've already explained over the last few days, any little retest of this line could make for a decent entry into a short position. And of course, not financial advice, but if you happen to do that right now, you would be sitting in profits, making money during the bearish price action, using a short position as an example. And yes, in case you're wondering, I am currently in a short position right now. In fact, basically right as I started recording this video, I opened this position. So I'm not opening it a day in advance and then telling you about it later on. Literally right now, as I press record the video, it's still sitting at break even. We're still basically at the exact entry price of this short position, but I'm not currently shorting Bitcoin. I'm shorting another crypto asset, which I'll talk about in just a moment, exactly why that's the case. But in case you want to actually take a trade like this for yourself, like what I'm currently doing right now, of course, you need to be set up ready to go on a crypto exchange. And personally, I'm taking my crypto trade right here over on the 2bit crypto exchange, which is also a no KYC exchange. So I'll make sure to leave a link below this video. In fact, the first link below this video in the description and in the pinned comment will take you to this page right here over on the 2bit crypto exchange, where you can also take advantage of exclusive bonuses that are only available using that link. And on top of those exclusive bonuses, there's also this trade protection and trader recovery fund available for a limited time during this event. And so as you can see here, clicking that link below the video, you can get loss protection for your first 7 days of futures trading, up to 200 USDT in trial funds. And on top of that, if you're getting liquidated during this event that's running right now over 50 USDT, then you may also be eligible for recovery compensation up to 1,000 USDT, depending on your actual liquidation. And so once again, you could get extra bonuses over here and loss protection on your trades using that link below the video to 2bit. And remember, 2bit is also a no KYC exchange, the exchange that I'm personally trading on right now. But if you want another option out there, then there's also Pinex. There's another crypto exchange that I also use as well from time to time. So I'll also make sure to leave a link to Pinex below this video. In fact, the second link below the video will take you to this page right here, where you could also take advantage of extra bonuses. For example, if you make an account using that link, complete KYC, you get a 50 USDT bonus on your account. And on top of that, if you deposit as little as 100 USDT, you get a 100 USDT bonus on your Pinex account. And if you deposit 10,000, you get a 1,000 USDT bonus on your Pinex account. So if you're going to be trading crypto anyway, or preparing to take the next trading opportunity, you might as well take advantage of these major bonuses here. And if you're doing it across multiple exchanges, you can take advantage of extra bonuses. So you might as well do that. Once again, second link below this video to Pinex. But just taking another quick look at the Bitcoin charts, at least in the immediate short term here on the 6-hour time frame, it's possible that we are forming a bullish divergence. I want to make it clear it's not confirmed, but we are currently forming lower lows in the price, which could soon be confirmed in the candle closes. Not yet confirmed in the candle closes though, and we're still currently forming, but not confirmed, the higher lows here in the 6-hour Bitcoin RSI. So that's just something to watch out for in the next few hours or so, in case it actually starts confirming, but right now not currently confirmed. And so this is definitely a deciding moment, at least when we're talking about the short term for the price of Bitcoin, because we do have that possible possible bullish divergence alongside the fact that the price is very close to possibly confirming a breakdown below this support, but not yet confirmed the breakdown, at least as of recording this video. So once again, definitely a crucial moment for Bitcoin, at least in the short term. But ultimately, we still have this technical price target in play ever since we confirmed the break below this line at around 88,500, with technical price target still sitting at just above 77,000. So really in between 77 to 78,000 as a technical price target that I've already been talking about over the last few days here. But just remember that we have support along the way where the price could possibly bounce from or see a bit of a relief from, like for example, 85K, around 80 to 81K, and also around 76K as levels of support to watch out for. And if we're taking a quick look at the Bitcoin liquidation heat map, honestly, there's not much to say here. So giving a really quick update, right now we don't really have a lot of liquidity immediately close to the price. If we're zooming into a smaller time frame, we can see a small amount of liquidity still building at give or take 90,000, but ultimately we have a massive level of liquidity still sitting at roughly around 70,000, but obviously between the current price and 70K, we still have a lot of support between now and then. So ultimately, pay attention to these key points of support and technical price targets and patterns that are still currently playing out. And if we're taking a quick look at the Bitcoin dominance chart on the daily time frame, like I already talked about in my last video, the Bitcoin dominance is finally starting to choose a direction. For the last 1 to 2 weeks, we have been looking very neutral, just bouncing around pretty much exactly sideways, obviously not showing a lot of bullish or bearish signs, at least in the shorter term. But right now, we're finally forming a higher low and of course, breaking out into a higher high, at least in this short-term structure for the Bitcoin dominance here on the daily time frame, which is of course forming and confirming bullish price structure for the Bitcoin dominance. And so due to the fact that we now have a higher low and higher high, and we're heading a little bit higher, of course, in the short term, this is of course increasing the probability that maybe in the next few days, maybe over the next 1 or 2 weeks, we could soon see another retest of this area of resistance, which will still likely act as strong resistance for the Bitcoin dominance. And that's still sitting in between 60.5% to 61% in the Bitcoin dominance. And as of recording this video, the Bitcoin dominance is sitting at approximately 59.8%. And so in the short to mid-term, we potentially still have a little bit more room towards the upside still to go for the Bitcoin dominance, which basically means a lot of the major altcoins out there on average will likely be doing worse, underperforming compared to Bitcoin. So whatever Bitcoin is doing, expect a lot of altcoins to be doing worse than whatever Bitcoin is doing. So of course, if Bitcoin's looking weak, lacking bullish momentum, playing out a bit of a dump or a pullback in the short term, and altcoins based on the Bitcoin dominance are meant to be doing worse than that, of course, that is not good for the altcoin market. And so with that being said, taking a look at Ethereum on the daily time frame, and we can see exactly that already for Ethereum. We're continuing a pullback as we've seen over the last 1 week or so. Of course, more recently, around half a week, we confirmed the break back below that point of support, which was sitting in between 3,000 to 3.1K. And we've already flipped that into resistance with a couple of tests here, retests of that level, confirming it now as new resistance, which was to be expected. Once again, in between 3,000 to 3.1K, now acting as resistance. And as for support, we're pretty much testing this area of support right now in between 2750 to 2.8K. So expect some support potentially around there based on these previous lows. But if we break below 2750 to 2.8K, in that situation, the next massive support is in between 2.6K to 2650. And if we break below 2.6K, then we could likely see a move down towards around 2.4K as another major point of support. And if we're zooming further into the short term, taking a look at the 3-hour Ethereum price chart, we could see that over the last 1 day, obviously we at least temporarily confirmed that short-term bullish divergence with a lower low confirmed in the price and higher lows confirmed in the RSI here on the 3-hour Ethereum price chart. And that did play out over roughly half a day, give or take, in the form of this bullish relief. And remember, that was also thanks to this bullish catalyst, the lower than expected CPI inflation numbers, which helped with that short-term pump just recently. But remember, because the stock market did not really follow through with that pump, Bitcoin did not really follow through with that pump. Right now, Ethereum is following the same price action, showing weakness, lacking bullish momentum in the short term. But with that being said, we're possibly forming another bullish divergence, or effectively extending the previous bullish divergence with yet another lower low in the price, possibly possibly about to soon confirm in the candle closes here, while the RSI, at least for now on the 3-hour Ethereum price chart, is still sitting in higher lows. So once again, we're still possibly forming yet another bullish divergence or extending the previous bullish divergence. But remember, as I already talked about in my last video, if this bullish divergence confirms again, like what we saw just here, maybe it results in a slight bullish relief, maybe a bit of choppy sideways price action, but don't necessarily expect a massive high momentum movement towards the upside based on this alone. That would be very unlikely. What's much more likely is maybe just a slight little relief if, of course, this first confirms. Remember, right now we need to now reconfirm the bullish divergence considering the latest pullback. So if this first reconfirms with the higher low in place in the RSI and the lower low in place in the price, then expect maybe just a slight relief in the short term, but overall the short-term trend is still bearish. And with that being said, if we're taking a look at the price of Solana on the daily time frame, right now the price is breaking well below that previous important level of support, which was sitting at around $124. So obviously now we have confirmed technically one daily candle close slightly below 124, and since that candle close we've headed even lower below that level. So this basically means we're simply continuing the larger trends that we've already been in for months. Remember, as I've been saying the entire time here, we're still in a larger bearish trend. For the last few weeks, we did take a bit of a short-term break from the larger bearish trend in the form of just a short-term sideways price range chopping around between support and resistance. But remember, understand the difference between the different time frames. That was a shorter-term relief or shorter-term break from the bearish trend, but not the end of the trend, not a reversal out of the bearish trend, because remember, a larger bearish trend can contain short-term bullish moves or short-term sideways consolidations, which is what we saw over the last few weeks, over the last 1 month or so. But overall, we're still in a much larger multi-month bearish trend, and this is simply just the continuation of the same trends that we've already been in for months. And so obviously, this is yet another reason as to why I've been talking about over and over again here on the channel, talking about short positions, not long positions, because we have to understand the trends that we are in. And if you're trading with the trend rather than trying to fight the trend, you're much more likely to be profitable. Once again, not financial advice, but if we're starting to form a bullish trend and you're looking to buy the dip or looking for long positions during a bullish trend, you're much more likely to be profitable rather than trying to short every little pullback, and vice versa. If of course we're in a bearish trend, which we are in right now, if you're trying to buy every little dip and the dip keeps dipping, obviously that is not a great trading strategy. And so now that the price has effectively confirmed the break below this important line of support for the price of Solana at around 124, the technical next point of support will be sitting at give or take $115 to $116 based on this low back here. So it's possible you could find a small amount of support there. And if we do see a bounce very soon, as in within the next couple of days, it's possible we could confirm a bullish divergence, since right now we are forming a bullish divergence. Lower lows already confirmed at this point in the price, but higher lows not yet confirmed, still possibly forming in the RSI. So once again, I want to make it clear, not confirmed, but a possible bullish divergence forming if we see a bounce very, very soon. But ultimately, the next significant level of support for the price of Solana is all the way back down here in between around $100 to $105. And if we're taking a look at the price of XRP on the weekly time frame, honestly, it is not looking good at all for the price of XRP on the larger time frames. The short-term situation can be different from time to time. Of course, in the shorter term, here and there, we can see little bounces and things like that from certain points of support along the way towards the downside. But as I've already been warning about since months ago here on the channel, since basically end of July, early August, when we were still at close to all-time highs, every day since then, I've been warning about this massive multi-month pullback coming soon when no one else out there was warning about this. You can even check my videos back then. They're all still public. But right now I'm still saying the same thing that I said all the way back up here, which is ultimately the price charts are not looking good. Expect most likely a lot of bearish price action over months to come. And of course, in the shorter term, for the last couple of weeks, we were starting to run into a crucial level of support that previously has acted as very important support over the last 1 year or so. And that was sitting in between around $1.80 to $1.90. And as of recording this video, we're still at about $1.80, just above $1.80, at least as of recording this video, which means it's possible we could still find some support around that $1.80 level. But right now, obviously not looking too good considering the rest rest of the market, not just the crypto market, but also the stock market showing a lot of weakness as of recent. Bitcoin obviously showing weakness. Overall, the market is looking quite weak. So obviously there's a high probability, as always, no guarantees, but there is a high probability that soon we'll break below $1.80. And that's really the final significant area of support before potentially much lower prices. Based on this larger price structure here, obviously that would be a complete breakdown of this larger range, and we'll be entering back into this previous larger range if we break below $1.80 to $2. And the next major point of support that I'll be watching below $1.80 would be sitting at around $1.60. So we could pretty quickly see a move down towards $1.60. If that does not hold as support, then I would expect to move down towards in between $1.30 to $1.40 as a major area of support that I'll be targeting if honestly we break below $1.80. So once again, we could find some support around $1.60, but really in between $1.30 to $1.40 is a likely price target if we see a further breakdown below $1.80. And if we're taking a look at the daily XRP price chart, we can see that right now, obviously, we're continuing a further move down in the short term, effectively invalidating the previous short-term bullish divergence. Like I already talked about in my last video, ideally, I'd like to see more confirmation before being more confident in this bullish divergence. Right now, we simply have a lot of weakness. So like I warned about in my last video, I would not be confident in this short-term bullish divergence. And so overall, this is effectively failed at this point, and it's possible that if we see a bounce very soon, it has to be basically right now at that $1.80 support level. It's possible we could form a new bullish divergence, considering right now the RSI is still sitting in very slight higher lows on the daily XRP price chart. So keep that in mind. That's still a possibility if we bounce pretty much right now, very soon. But remember, even if that confirms, even if we do confirm a smaller or shorter term bullish divergence here on the daily time frame, yes, that can result in a shorter term bullish move, maybe over a few days, maybe over 1 or 2 weeks. But overall, the larger trend is still clearly a bearish trend. Remember, we can see shorter term bullish moves or sideways consolidations here and there during a larger bearish trend. So right now, the much larger multi-month trend is still clearly bearish, as I've been warning about every day since all the way back up here. Check my videos from back then, warning about this multi-month bearish trend as a result of this massive bearish divergence playing out on the much larger time frames. And as always, I put my money where my mouth is. I'm not just talking BS here on the channel. I just now opened a short position for the price of XRP. Right now, still around a break even. It is only a small short position, around a $200,000 XRP short position, currently betting on lower prices to come for the price of XRP. But I want to make my trading strategy clear on this channel. This position right here, I don't plan to have this position open just for a few hours or over 1 or 2 days. I plan to have this position as more of a swing trade, potentially trading towards these next significant levels towards the downside for the price of XRP here on the weekly time frame. So remember, from time to time in the shorter term, yes, we can see little bounces. That does not mean necessarily the trade has failed. Remember, I'm trying to trade the trend right here, not just a short-term move. And so even if, let's just say, we actually confirm this bullish divergence and see a slight little bounce here, then potentially I might just close that position and open at a slight little bounce, or add to the position with a bounce. But overall, the larger trend, considering I'm still bearish on the larger trend, and we're at potentially a very significant turning point on the chart in terms of we're going from bearish to much more bearish very soon if we break below $1.80. Considering that right now in the larger time frames, at least in my position, not financial advice, it makes sense to basically hedge against this downturn by having a short position open for XRP. And just as an example, if we're measuring out from the current price to that next immediate support level at roughly $1.60, that's about an 11% move down. Or if we're measuring towards this area down here in between $1.30 to $1.40, we're talking about over a 20% move down, around a 23 to 27% move down, which obviously with no leverage is still a decent profit. But if you're adding a bit of leverage to the trade, of course, that could be some easy money to be made here while everyone else out there is losing money during this downturn. And so remember, right now I've just opened this position still at break even. I'm sharing very transparently here on the channel. This is my 2-bit account, as you can see right here, $200,000 XRP short position, currently 7x leverage. And remember, my plan for this trade is more of a swing trade, a mid to longer term trade, not just trading a short-term daily move. So overall, that is my current trading strategy, betting on more bearish price action for XRP, ultimately just putting my money where my mouth is, actually showing that yes, I am real about this massive bearish move, as I've already been warning about since months ago here on the channel. And if we're taking a look at the price of Chainlink on the daily time frame, of course, right now Chainlink is just following the rest of the crypto market with the short-term bearish price action, ultimately about to continue the larger bearish trends that we've already been in for many months, obviously. And right now we are technically forming another lower low in the price, and at least for now the RSI has not yet broken below the previous low, which means it's possible we could form a bullish divergence like I've been saying throughout the video. But remember, like I've also been saying throughout the video, at least for now, this possible new bullish divergence is not currently confirmed. And also, if we were to see a bounce very soon in the price of Chainlink, it's also possible we could form a head and shoulders pattern for the price of Chainlink, which is technically a bearish price pattern. So even if we see a bit of a bounce here, that could just be forming an even larger bearish pattern for Chainlink. And as of recording this video, we are running into a bit of support at give or take $12, but we're getting close to possibly breaking below that support, below these previous lows. And if that's the case, if we confirm candle closes below roughly $12 or $11.90 give or take, and especially if we fail to get back above that level, in that situation, I'll be targeting close to $11, in between around $10.90 to $11 as the next potential point of support based on this previous low. And of course, as usual, if we break below a point of support, so if we confirm the break below around $12 give or take, then that would likely flip into new resistance. And of course, right now the resistance is still sitting at around $13.30 to $13.40 if the price actually gets back up there. But remember, you can profit during all of this bearish price action using things like short positions, for example, to profit along the way towards the downside, like what I'm doing right now with my own money. So remember, get set up, ready to go, using those links below this video to those exchanges if you want to take advantage of the massive bonuses that are only available using those links. And if you want to actually know how you can take trades just like this for yourself, then make sure to watch these videos popping up right on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how you can profit from bullish or bearish price action using long positions or short positions, and the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.